Yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
Yum.
Yum, yum.
Alleged affairs,
Checkered
relationships
past.
with
No,
with
sir.
Yum
You
Yum.
don't get to say that. For joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now. And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand, on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so, well, let's just talk about pieces of it, and I guess you can tell me if you support it. You probably want less bureaucracy, right?
I do.
I want less bureaucracy. You want more efficiency?
I do.
I want more efficiency. You want taxpayer money spent wisely?
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents would be proud.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.
I think he had more than just a bad night, John, you know. But,
well, he's had a bad 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as we go through the show, you're going to see that it could be his last week of employment. We don't know. So,
I mean, every day might be his last day of employment. All of America is waiting to see if his age catches up with him. Of course, tonight, July 15th, July 16th, whenever this show airs, on July 16th, actually, this is a secondary story by far. And we know that the biggest story, there's really nothing else going on in the world. We've all been holding our breath, or we were all holding our breath yesterday over the attempted assassination attempt of the president. And that, to me, it's such a gigantic deal. It's a historic moment. We have not seen this in decades. And it seems to crawl around every 40 or 50 years or so. So we opened up with something funny. Yeah, those are hilarious clips, and we just don't know what the future is for Biden. His own party doesn't know what the future for Joe Biden is. Joe Biden doesn't know what the future for Joe Biden is. The only person who really wants Joe Biden in that White House is Joe Biden, apparently, and Hunter Biden.
yeah.
So it's strange times. But anyways, of course, like I said, the one thing that we really came here to talk about tonight is going to be all about Trump. It's going to be how, and not just the assassination attempt. Now the whole world has seen what we all knew about Trump already. All right, what my dad, before he died, knew about Trump. He knew that Trump loved this country and that he was willing to sacrifice his life for this country. We saw Trump take a bullet for this country. And so, like so many brothers of mine who have spilled blood in Afghanistan or Iraq, the former President Trump, and future President Trump has spilled blood for this country. So let's say a quick prayer and a quick prayer of blessing and thankfulness just for this being an attempted assassination an attempted assassination, not a successful one. Lord, we are so grateful to you. We just hold our hearts up in thanksgiving. We know for a fact that this was a bullet intended to kill Donald Trump, and it came as close as it could possibly come. And all of America saw this man get up on his feet, pump his fist into the air and unite the entire country, because now we know why he's running. He didn't pump his fist in the air and say, somebody help me. He didn't just try to get out of there. He prevented the Secret Service from exfilling him and getting him out of there. And he said, stop. He pumped his fist in the air and he said, fight, fight, fight. And it wasn't fight against one another. It wasn't fight against something silly. It wasn't fight over me. It was fight for your country. That's what he said. Fight for your country. That's what he was telling everyone. And those could have been his last words. They literally could have been his last words. He didn't know. Maybe he had been hit, right? Or something else would have happened at that moment. Somebody else could have taken another shot at him. And his last words on earth would have been fight. And he was talking about your country. Fight for your country. I mean, we're going to see later what the effect of this has been on the country and on the political landscape and on everyday average Americans. So we're just so grateful to you about how this is an amazing time to observe. And we're just very grateful that you allowed us to talk about it, because sometimes this would just be swept under the rug in some places. And we're just grateful and in awe of your mercy and your grace and forgiveness and your blessings. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Let's get into it, man. I'm excited to talk about these things. I mean, here's the thing. We just saw the world's greatest proof, right? I mean, that's essentially what we saw. We saw the world's greatest proof about the character of Donald Trump in a real world situation, 100% authentic, on live television, right? And then we saw some real this is some things I didn't get to send to you, Tom. I wanted the headlines from CNN and from MSNBC right when it happened. Yeah, so I'll pull those up for them and we'll find them, because it's absolutely atrocious, the things that they've done and they've said. It tells you everything about them. They also are being exposed for their character.
Yes, absolutely.
And so this is what we're talking about. Yeah. So let's go through. What do you got for us first?
All right, let's start off with some news. All right, so like you had said, John, the biggest story of all is what happened when this guy tried to take President Trump's life. But, he pumped his fist in defiance after this. And just for the record's sake, and, if there's anybody that's been living under a rock and hasn't seen this is what happened.
And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Absolutely incredible.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. You ready?
Okay, we are watching live at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
All right, so we have one more video, John, because it cut off right before this happened. That right there, John, is the most badass thing I think I've ever seen. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. We're already seeing T-shirts, posters of that moment, and rightfully so. That moment is going to live on longer than we will. It'll be in the history books. It's just incredible. What a badass, man. What a badass.
Well, for me, it's that rage. Trump walks around with a certain air of rage. There's a lot of rage and anger, right? And when he walked down that escalator, he came down that escalator in 2015, it was, a little air of arrogance and funny, total confidence, right? He's always completely and totally confident. But now you're looking at Trump plus, right? You're looking at that Donald Trump who was just a billionaire plus. He took off his businessman hat, since they started attacking him, right? And they've been weaponizing the government against him. They took off just that businessman hat and he put on his George Washington hat, his patriot hat. And that's really what he's been wearing for the past 4 years is this patriot hat. And when and listen, there's literally no greater for me, any aspect of our history, of the American history, than one where we celebrate the revolutionary soldiers, right? Like our revolutionaries who fought for independence. Those had to be the scrappiest, the toughest, right? And you saw that in Trump, just totally, completely defiant, which is what our revolution was being about. The whole thing was about being defiant, and that's what he was. He pumps his fist in defiance, and he says, "Fight, fight, fight!" I'll never forget it. I saw it live. I couldn't believe it. It was just incredible, and man, I mean, I already knew that about him. I already knew. I sensed that in him, right? Like any combat soldiers could look at the eyes of other combat soldiers, and there's a lot of unspoken understanding between them. And like Trump was a badass as he has always been, and that's pretty clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
And he took a shot. He got hit by that bullet. You don't know. When you get shot, there's a sense of shock, right? There's shock, physical shock going through your body. You don't know exactly. You might have been hit once or twice or whatever. Someone took a picture. Someone has a picture. Someone of the former White House press poll got a picture of an actual bullet passing by his head.
I saw that.
The actual bullet. It's a streak of bullet that you see. Yeah. So, I mean, any one of those shots, they were all close. That was on par with him. Those were some close shots. Unfortunately, there are 2 people that were wounded, that are critically wounded, and there's 1 person who lost their life to this point, besides the scumbag who actually took the shots. And I'll just say this: we don't really know, right? And let me be straight up, completely honest about my feelings. I don't know that I can trust the government to even tell me the truth about what happened. I don't trust exactly what they're saying. I don't know if it's right. All I know is if we're taken for their word, this guy took a shot and he got killed. And there's a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And here's why. Here's what good reason why.
Yeah. This witness right here, he said that he frantically tried to tell and warn the police of this guy bear crawling with a rifle up on this roof before the assassination attempt. John, this is the video of this guy. This is what he had to say. I think he was talking to BBC.
Right, we couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see? I mean, obviously, everyone when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching. But you're pretty sure they shot the guy.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
You know, I guess over in the UK, you can't talk about somebody's head being blown off. But sorry, Jack, here in America now. But,
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. You're talking about world news, and you're telling a guy, be careful what you're going to say. No, you beep it. You have to. This is a world event. What the hell is he talking about? It makes no sense. But that's not the. Here's something more important. The other stories that are coming out from now is that that whole crowd, not just this guy from what he saw, but other people saw him scaling the ladders to get on the roof, right? So when I saw a picture, an aerial view where there's a ladder against the roof. So you're telling me that the Secret Service the day before didn't go around to make sure there were no attempts, no access to the roof of a building that would have clear shots at the president speaking? And then you have the roof where, like, the sniper's here. Trump is here, right? The sniper's here behind him that are protecting him. The counter sniper, and then the other guys are across the street on another roof, the guy who took the shots at Trump. That guy, there's no way that he could not have seen it. He was dark clothing on a white roof. You don't have any surveillance going on. There's no surveillance, no helicopter, no nothing.
Drones.
I mean, they came there. There's only 3 roofs in the entire vicinity. There's like 3 roofs. A small building right behind from where the shooter was, and then one next to Trump and the one between. So the stage where you see is white. To the right of the stage is where the counter sniper team was. How is it that they had a better? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now, on the other side, to the left of where the shooter's location was, a little bit further, there's that little building. You see a little building. There's another little roof, right?
Yeah.
But you're not going to have a sniper up on that roof. You would have 2. You'd have 2 snipers up for Secret Service, one on top of either of both. And you have a clear shot of the entire field throughout the entire location. It makes no sense. Somebody was saying, oh, well, that tree's in the way. You're telling me that a professional sniper is going to set up where he doesn't have a vantage point over the other roof across the street? It would never happen. It would never happen. I cannot make any sense. Listen, I was not a sniper in the Army, right? But many times I've been on an OP on some observation point in the middle of nowhere, and I'd have my rifle there, and I would know exactly what the dangers are when I'd be looking over a hill or over a tree line or off of a cliff in Afghanistan, and I knew exactly where somebody would set up if they were a sniper, right? It's not like, and in this place, this is not the mountains of Afghanistan. These are not shale mountains where everything blends in together. This is a white roof with the guy in black clothes, essentially. There's no way. There's no way. First of all, I can't believe that the director, I don't know if this is the next story or not, but that the director of the Secret Service has not been fired yet. She should have been fired immediately when this happened for a variety of reasons. Number one, there's reports saying that they had been requesting additional Secret Service protection and it was denied. Number two, because the Secret Service director, her name is Cheadle.
Yeah.
So Director Cheadle said that her number one priority was to increase the percentage of women who were in Secret Service by 30%. So she turned her presidential protection into a DEI project, and it led to Trump losing a piece of his ear.
Yeah.
Now, I was for several months on my second tour to Afghanistan. I was on a personal security detail for a colonel. And here's the other thing. That guy said that at least 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe even 7 minutes, that they gave warning to the police that were on scene, right? Yeah. Now, we're talking about the president of the United States of America. If you say that there's a shooter to anybody in a uniform anywhere, if you call in Florida, if I said here in Florida, I'm going to shoot up the White House, I'm probably going to have somebody come to my house tomorrow because I just said that on the air, right? But you're telling me that they give you a warning on the street that there's a shooter on the roof and he's got 4 minutes to set up and take a shot before you intervene?
Yeah.
I mean, how is that? On a personal security detail, 4 minutes for me would have been an eternity. Somebody would have said, hey, there's a shooter over there. I would immediately punch that button on my radio and I'd say, shooter, shooter, shooter. There's a, and they would have gotten that colonel. They would have put him in the Humvees and we would have been out of there.
Yeah.
We wouldn't wait to see whether there's a real shooter there or not. Right? It was just, hey, bad thing. I think, hey, I just got wind. Ambush. We were going to pack up that colonel, put him in the trucks, and move the hell on out. And there's no way that they would have told the cop, hey, shooter on the roof. And the cop be like, oh, what? No. How does that happen? Who is that cop? Who is that cop that he told?
I was reading something today, John, that one of the Bethel police did climb up on the roof. This is what they're reporting. That
and then climb back down?
That the guy turned the gun on him and told the cop to get down. The cop got down.
No way.
Yeah.
And what about that? He didn't call. He didn't just say shooter on the roof. And the minute he would have said shooter on the roof, Secret Service would have been out there, grabbed Trump and whisked him away.
Yeah. Well, the officer is saying that as soon as he went down the ladder, that's when the shooter started shooting.
Well, that guy should be arrested.
Yeah, absolutely.
That cop should be arrested. That cop should be arrested. The fact that he went up there and he didn't have his gun ready to fire at the guy. I mean, that guy should be arrested.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that simple. He should be arrested.
And you talked about the Secret Service, John. The GOP was investigating the Secret Service before this assassination attempt. The House Oversight Committee for several months has been investigating the Secret Service. So there's questions of what's going on there, especially under this director, Cheadle, who was an executive or something with Pepsi before this.
Yeah, I guess she was in charge of security. Now, she was on Secret Service prior, from what I understand. She worked with Dick Cheney, right?
Yeah.
And she worked with Biden, and then she got appointed by Biden to that seat. She works for Mayorkas. So I don't know how bad this person must be to get a job under both Mayorkas and Biden, but now to put the sugar on top of a worthless piece of trash, human trash like Dick Cheney,
Yeah,
it doesn't point to good things. And apparently she's in with them. She's in with them, right? And she should have been fired immediately. She's also been entangled in a controversy over losing the text. I guess somebody tried to subpoena her texts, or they were requesting her texts from January 6th, and she ended up losing the texts. They were accidentally deleted in a system change of some sort or whatever they said. And
Yeah,
then
sure.
they're like, we don't exactly. So a reporter asked her and said, "Hey, we don't. I mean, the American people aren't going to like that answer." She's like, "Well, it's real unfortunate that they wouldn't believe me. You know, our integrity is everything. Anybody associated with Joe Biden or Dick Cheney have no integrity whatsoever."
no, they do not. They do not.
Or Mayorkas. I mean,
But I read another story, John, that from Business Insider, that former Secret Service agent said that they totally blew it in this situation.
they totally blew it.
Totally blew it. And I'm
The
sure
question is-
Bongino, I haven't seen his take, but I'm sure he'd say the same thing.
Yeah, I've seen his take. But here's the thing. It's not that they blew it. Okay, that's not question. They demolished their jobs and their careers. Every Secret Service agent in that entire vicinity should get a job in doing something else, where they're not something else. But the question isn't that. The question is why? That's the question. Why did Secret Service
Why
bumble
did
it
they
like this?
get 3 or 4 shots off before they were on top of President Trump?
Yeah. Why did they get so many shots off? Why did that sniper team not have another sniper team on that other roof? Why did the sniper not take a shot at him? Why did they not eliminate it immediately Why did that cop come back down? Why on the radio was there not all kinds of language? Why was Trump allowed to take that stage when the guy said there's shooter, there's a guy up there with a rifle? Why wasn't Trump whisked away then? Why? I want to know. And the fact that they were horrendous at their jobs, or that they had a woman who can't holster her weapon on that team. I mean, I don't know. They might have given him the worst Secret Service agents in history. Yeah. And they were saying that not all of them were Secret Service, that a lot of them were just like extra police, sworn law enforcement from Homeland Security. And I wouldn't trust that. I wouldn't trust my Orcas to oversee my personal security. I think that Trump needs to get rid of get rid of Secret Service altogether and hire private security, which would be way more effective. Obviously, he'd still have all of his ear.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, John. So they have identified this shooter, who he is. They're saying his name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. But there is questions on whether he is the shooter or not. There's the best picture that I'm going to show of him. There's a better one with his brains blown out, but we're not going to put that on the show. But that's him. And, they're saying he's a registered Republican. He did donate to Act Blue beforehand. He is a self-professed anti-fascist, whatever that means. I guess that means Antifa. There's a lot of questions around this guy. But then there's other reports that the real shooter's name is Maxwell Urich. But we've already seen, and I just saw this report before we started the show, that even BlackRock is admitting that this kid was in one of their commercials when he was in high school, and that one of his teachers in high school was a BlackRock contractor.
Yeah, well, go figure. Go figure. I mean, this is crazy. There's a ton of intrigue, and right now I have very little trust for the United States government to tell us the right thing, the true thing that happened, and I have very little confidence that really that they'll protect Trump even. I mean, I just.
I mean, you got to worry now, because Barron's been taking the stage with Trump too, and just scary, man, scary.
Yeah, it absolutely is scary. It's terrifying, really.
Yeah.
And they should be ashamed of themselves. I can't get over it. How bad this is.
Yeah, we're gonna get to some of the liberal reactions to this in a minute, but before that, with some people, what happened here really turned them towards President Trump, like Elon Musk. As soon as this incident happened, he came on X and he said that he's all in for Trump, that he fully endorses President Trump. There's his tweet right there showing what happened, and said he fully endorses President Trump and hopes for his rapid recovery. From what I'm hearing, he plans to donate eye-dropping numbers of dollars to the President Trump's reelection campaign.
Well, okay, so what are your thoughts?
That's another tweet he said. The last time America had a candidate this tough was Theodore Roosevelt. They're saying that he's going to donate eye-dropping numbers of cash to President Trump's campaign.
Man, so here's what I think. I think that if Elon Musk, this is why, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. I don't dislike Elon Musk. I'm neutral on Elon Musk. And I'm neutral because he's done a couple of good things, right? What he did with Twitter, that was a big part of saving our country, right? Forcing some media outlets to say the right thing or to allow people to express themselves, right? And express their points of view. But the problem is he's also really, I don't like Trump. What, you like Trump now because he's missing a piece of his ear? That's what it took for you? So either you're going against your principles, right? Or you're just now putting your ego away and saying, okay, fine, F it. He's the right guy. He was the right guy all along. I didn't want to get involved. So I'm just going to, but now that he's missing a piece of his ear, I'm going to, it gives me a chance the door is open for me to put my ego away and to look like there's a reason that I'm making this switch.
Yeah.
And my impression is that Trump told him to F off. Elon Musk was like, hey, I want this. This is important to me. This is important to me, right? I want these regulations to make all our cars e-cars, right? And I want all these bad electric cars, and that's it, and whatever. And that's important to me because that's my business. And Trump was like, F that, we're going oil, right? Oil. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make every car. It's going to be super cheap. If you want to compete with these gas cars, then you need to create the technology where your cars can compete with gas cars on their level. We're not going to make cars worse so that you can become more competitive, right?
Yeah.
And because here's the thing, Elon Musk doesn't want electric cars to be a novelty. He wants it to be mainstream. And then I think that, and I'm speculating, okay? I'm imagining why someone as smart as Elon Musk, with the instincts that Elon Musk has, is resisting Donald Trump. Now Elon Musk knows that Donald Trump is going to be president, just like we all do, right?
Well, John, I think that Elon Musk is a mega rich guy, kind of like President Trump, right? They're both in the same class when it comes to money. And I think that for him now to see President Trump's reaction to what happened to him, to becoming, a couple of inches away from being assassinated, and President Trump's reaction to that, I think that Musk couldn't deny it, because I think Musk knows that his reaction would be the exact opposite of what President Trump's was. And, for all these people that always said that, President Trump is just in this for himself, he's just wanting the power, he's just wanting the money. Look at what that man did.
Yeah.
Look at the way he got up from almost being assassinated and put his fist in the air and was just like, fight, fight, fight. That's not a man that's in it for the money. That's a man that's in it for his country.
Yeah. Well, I hope. But if you didn't see that already, right, then you're not as smart as I thought you were. You just got lucky.
Absolutely.
Right? And I hate to think of people
you just
like that.
didn't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Or
You wanted to go along
with
the libs and their narrative. So.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
One lib that gave some praise to President Trump was RFK Jr., saying that his courage was inspirational after that shooting. And, he's a guy who would know, John. His father and uncle were assassinated in the 60s. And he said that he reached out to Trump following the shooting. He said he sent a message out, a note to President Trump tonight, to his and his family, telling him how relieved he was that he was not more than badly injured, and wishing him a quick recovery, thanking him for his career during that event, which was inspirational. And he said that to Sean Hannity. I really hope that President Biden reaches out to President Trump and offers him a podium somewhere where the two of these men can reassure the nation to make an effort to change the tone of this campaign so we can all sort of inspire us all to start being kind to each other. Well, that's a nice sentiment, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that after this. So what is your take on RFK, John?
Here's the thing. I like RFK. I would never vote for him in a million years because he's so too far to the left. If he were a Republican, he'd be a great candidate. He's an honest guy, authentic guy, genuine guy is what it seems like. But his ideologies are too far to the left, and we know that they don't work. It would be great if our two options were people who were normally just regular conservatives and people like regular Democrats like JFK, like RFK, Jr. And that would be great. If the debate was about ideology, that'd be great. But we have a bunch of scumbags in politics Democrats who won't allow somebody like RFK to get in. And then we have people on the right side who are nothing but a bunch of snakes who won't let anybody good get in, right? So, it's a big problem. And he's a solution for the Democrats. To me, they're so dumb. Democrats are so dumb for not putting this guy as their nominee. But this guy might not have kept all those people out of jail, right? He might have said, I'm sorry, you got to go to jail. I'm sorry, Fauci, you got to go to jail. And that's what they fear, I think, the most was that you have just as much of a chance of going to jail in a Kennedy administration as you do with a Trump administration.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that that's still the case with Trump too. I hope that Trump really, I mean, come on, find out who took this shot. I can imagine. Now, look, a lot of people are concerned about some of the moves that Trump has been making, right, to try to appease everyone in the party so that he can get everybody on the same page and go vote for him. Yeah. Now he has to do that less, but it's also his chance to really just bring the whole country together. And I think he did that with those fist pumps. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my take on RFK. I mean, I don't dislike him. I would never vote for him because I know how far to the left he is, but he's an honest guy. It's what it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right, John. They are fools for not choosing this man to be their nominee and continuing to go on this path with Biden. But, you know, liberals, and it's a great gesture if President Trump wants to try and bring the country together, but there are certain folks that don't want that to happen, mainly the mainstream media and the Democrat Party and their surrogates, because you look at some of the headlines that came from them after this event. Top advisor to anti-Trump LinkedIn billionaire, sorry for suggesting assassination bid was a false flag. All right, and that's the narrative. A lot of these people are saying that this was a staged event for Trump. Yep. Here's another one. Top political advisor to Democrat megadonor Reid Hoffman sent an email last night to journalists arguing for the possibility the assassination attempt against President Trump was staged by Trump for political benefit. And we've heard this a couple of times from a couple of people. You even have this video right here.
Also, George, we have to point out, no matter who the shooter, what the shooter's motives were, no matter who the shooter is, you are going to hear conspiracy theories going forward.
No question about that. But as you point out those statements from J.D. Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, President Trump and his supporters have contributed to this violent rhetoric as well.
Well, absolutely, George. We were just looking back this morning at some of the things that former President Trump has said. He warned last March of potential death and destruction if he were charged by the Manhattan District Attorney. Our country is being destroyed as they tell us to be peaceful. Trump in January warned of bedlam in the country if the criminal charges against him succeeded. And of course, in March, he said, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be the least of it. He said he was partly joking and that was taken out of context. But those are indeed his words. And you have heard it from supporters as well. And supporters are certainly in some parts angry. And let's remember January 6th. In so many ways for the campaign, January 6th will probably be in the background after yesterday's event. This is a very difficult time for this campaign. I'm sure this week in Milwaukee that President Trump will highlight this, and President Biden is going to have to figure out how to go forward with his campaign and what exactly they say.
Martha Raddatz.
These people are absolute cow manure, John. They're cow manure.
It's crazy. This is crazy. It's crazy. So, number one, all of his statements were peaceful for J6, right? I mean, he didn't say anything. And that whole bloodbath thing, they already dispelled that. They already got all the Pinocchios in the world over saying that. The guy was talking about the auto industry, that it was going to be a bloodbath for the auto industry. They were going to lose all their jobs. That's what he was talking about when he said bloodbath. Listen, these are not stupid people. They know what they're doing, and they're straight up lying to the American people. In my opinion, I mean, I feel so sorry. We gotta start praying hard for the people who are still watching these people and thinking that they're telling the truth when they're just straight up lying to the American people. I mean, there has to be. You know what? They should be personally culpable. You should be able to sue ABC when they dispel that truth. That's what they should do, right? If you tell a lie as a reporter, right? If you tell a lie as ABC, as a network, and you tell a lie that you know is a lie, and you're deceiving people en masse, anybody like myself, let's say I'm an ABC viewer, I find out that you're lying and I make a decision like voting for an absolute degenerate, senile old man like Biden because of it, I should be able to sue you for it. And there's no doubt that they would be broke today because they're nothing but a bunch of liars and idiots at those news channels. And I can't believe that they get away with it.
Oh, absolutely. Shame on Democrats. Any Democrat, any liberal that's out there saying that this was a staged event, shame on you.
That's
Come on.
ridiculous.
If this was a
That's
staged
ridiculous.
event, all right, President
You don't
Trump
shoot
would be
yourself
in jail right now because we know that the deep state doesn't like President Trump. They don't want him. Democrats and liberals, the mainstream media, they don't want him. And if this was a staged event, believe me, they would have found out right away, or at least by now, and it would be all over the front page of the newspapers. It would be on the newscast. It would be everywhere. So shame on you, Democrats, liberals.
Listen, this is Donald Trump is not a carny like Hunter Biden is. Okay, you think that he's going to stage a gunshot from 150 yards, trusting a 22-year-old kid, a 20-year-old kid, to shoot him from 150 yards away and graze his ear? I mean, come on. And what 20-year-old idiot is going to get up on that roof saying, "Oh, well, Trump is going to make me a millionaire for taking a shot at you"? No, you know what's going to happen.
No.
So come on, it's the dumbest thing. I've had so many people. We're having this Trump prayer vigil on Wednesday evening, and so tomorrow night when this airs, and I had people sending me messages saying, "Oh, this was staged." I mean, come on. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with you? Wait, so you're telling me that you don't believe that Biden is senile, but you believe that Trump orchestrated somebody to shoot him from 152 yards away and hit his ear? Come on.
You know, the mainstream media has crafted this narrative in collusion with the deep state and the Democrat Party that Trump is this evil man. He's this Hitler that has to be stopped no matter what, any way possible.
They even put him on a newspaper. They even put him on a magazine that way, right? Do you have that magazine cover?
No,
Let's check.
I did.
Look. No, I thought I sent it to you. So it's crazy. It was on the cover of Atlantic. So on the cover of Atlantic, they had Trump as Hitler. They had him as Hitler. They didn't have him as somebody like Hitler, right? They had him as Hitler, painted as Hitler on this. You know, I mean, let me find it to you, and I'll send it to you, and we can play it while you go on.
Yeah. They have weaved this narrative for almost a decade now, that this man is so evil. He's the worst
7
thing
years.
ever. And, you know, you have Martha Raddatz and George Stephanopoulos talking about that President Trump is responsible for the current climate in America. Really, John, who's really responsible for the climate in America right now and the violence?
No, Joe Biden.
Yeah, and these
Joe,
people.
It's not Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's not responsible for anything. It's the people who are handling Joe Biden. That's who it is.
Yeah.
It's the people the people who designed Joe Biden's White House term.
I would also say it's these people right here, John.
All over the country, and maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. Well, you have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
I think I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school.
If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
Okay. When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the
Well, this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
That cackle.
There's nobody who's going to survive that laugh in an elevator. Stuck in an elevator, I would kill myself if I was stuck in there with Kamala Harris. But here's the thing. That's not the only thing. There's also pictures. There's a Biden recently, as recently as in July, a couple of days, Biden said to his donors, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye." Now, would I read that as a threat? No, I wouldn't. But these are the things that they lose their minds over, right? They'll say, "Oh, well, Trump said that a bloodbath when he was talking about the auto industry." Well, this guy literally said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. Okay, so he said that. What could he have been talking about? He was talking about votes at the very least, but he wasn't talking about a whole different industry. This is much closer to what they're describing than anything Trump ever said. And it's craziness. It's absolute craziness. I'll find John, that. These couple of days. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, for them to try and say that it's President Trump and the MAGA movement that have pushed this violence narrative for the last 8 years is ridiculous. It's completely false. I think anybody that's really been paying attention know that the Democrats and mainstream media have really been the ones pushing it. So anyway.
Yeah, they really have. They really have.
Moving on, over the weekend before the assassination attempt, Biden was struggling once again. And some of these officials that he was with were struggling to hide their discomfort as he called Kamala Harris Vice President Trump at this press conference. Watch this, John.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Wow. All right. So that's the first one. All right. Now look at their reactions in this one.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one.
I love that. Here's the thing. Of course, listen. They can. I think that we were going to talk about this before, though. Yes, Joe Biden is an old idiot. He's an idiot and he's old. Is he going to do things like this? Yeah, that's his whole nature, right? He's always been a screw up his whole life. But these guys are half his age, and they are just as bad and just as dumb. The way that they lead their departments are just as bad as Biden leads this country. Mayorkas is the same. A president just lost a piece of his ear. The Secret Service belongs to Homeland Security. Yeah. Okay? I mean, come on. The only one that was missing there was Buttigieg. Right? If Mayor Booty was there, then you'd have somebody who's running boats into bridges and knocking bridges down, derailing trains all over the place. I mean, these guys are nuts. They shouldn't be embarrassed of him. They should be embarrassed of themselves.
He also called the Zelensky President Putin, but I don't know if that's this video here. Let me see.
Not on whether or not Joe Biden stumbles.
Oh, no. This was the chairman of the DNC wanted to make excuses for President Biden. Here he is.
Not on whether or not Joe Biden stumbles over things or has a stutter. I mean, hell, sometimes I can't even remember my kids' names because I'm so tired, right? So we got to stop. We got to stop the nitpicking, and then focus on the work ahead.
I don't disagree with you.
That's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that they would go to him and ask him, and he would make excuses for Biden, because what they're saying, John, is that multiple ranking Democrats on House committees want Biden to step aside. This has been talked about several times. Here's the ringleader, Hakeem Jeffries, and Democrats met behind closed doors last Sunday as pressure mounted on President Biden to drop out of the race. Hakeem Jeffries held a virtual meeting with ranking Democrats on House panels Sunday afternoon. Fox News learned that multiple Democrats on House committees expressed concerns about the viability of Biden continuing to run for re-election against former President Trump. Fox is told the consensus among most Democrats on the call who suggested Biden should abandon the race was that the party should focus on Vice President Kamala Harris as a potential successor. You could give me either one of those two. I'm not worried about it. But the thing is,
Yeah.
when the media cornered Hakeem Jeffries, and he had this to say.
Mr. Leader, do you support Joe Biden staying as your Democratic nominee?
Yes, I made clear the day after the debate publicly that I support President Joe Biden and the Democratic ticket. My position has not changed.
So 100% you're behind it. You're 100%.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if we should believe him, John.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna go with who they want to go with at the end of the day. Who knows? Maybe we have some crazy circus at the Democrat convention. It'd be fun to watch, to see them break down. We're more united than ever with Trump. All NPAs and independents are coming to Trump, right? Even Democrats. We saw that. Can you pull up that that tweet from that girl? Did you load that up?
Oh yeah. I don't know where I put it though. Hold on a second. Let me see if I put it here.
So, you know, to describe exactly, and I'm going to kind of go different. You might as well load all those stuff, but to describe exactly what we're going through in our country right now is that normal people are now abandoning the idea.
No, it's not this.
They're abandoning the idea completely that that Trump is the monster that they made him out to be. And they're abandoning the party which lied to them and created this false narrative, right? And everybody's coming awake. And so the impacts of that, people are going to start feeling like, okay, now I can come out of the Trump closet, right? Now I can come out and say, okay, well, you know, I wanted to say Trump, but I couldn't. And that, you know, that first picture, Tom, is what I was talking about, that ladder. So you pull both of those, that image and then the headline. Yeah. Because we know that the media has been lying. The media has been lying, and it has not been anything close. It's been like real desperate lies. And you can see here, this picture right here is that ladder that he crawled up. So you're telling me that the day before, right, that Secret Service didn't check to see a ladder? You can see the ladder from wherever this picture was taken. But there was no ladder, no drone, no nothing like that saw, hey, there's a ladder up there putting up. How strange. And if they didn't patrol that area the day before he was going to be there, nobody would have seen a ladder to the roof of a building that wasn't covered. It's incredible. But and all of these things have made it evident that the time to switch to Trump is now, to get back. Let's save our country, we know. And this is why they know that everybody's been lying. Look at this Trump speech interrupted by Secret Service. Can you believe that headline?
Oh my God.
Can you believe that headline? That's not the worst one. There was another headline which said Trump collapses during speech. There was a headline that said, how dishonest is that?
Yeah.
How dishonest is that? How can you ever forgive a news agency for lying like that to you? I don't know that we can. I don't know that I don't know that America can, and I hope that they won't. And so we heard, these are not the lies. If they can lie about something that we all witnessed, the whole world is there. It's been recorded. We saw it. And now this is what the American people are doing here. So here's a tweet by this Stephanie Tyler. Okay, listen to this. This is crazy. A great story that tells you about where real people are at, even on the left side. Graduated in 2012 with a degree in women's studies. Cried in 2016 when Trump got elected. We saw those pictures. This is one of the people that we made fun of for crying when Trump won. Lost touch with the Dems somewhere around Me Too. Discovered entrepreneurship. Look at these markers. Updated my voter registration in 2018, but didn't tell anybody. Told myself I was a issue voting centrist. The last 6 to 12 months, I believed I was going to abstain from voting in the upcoming election because the options are equally terrible. Now, we know that's not true, but she's in transition, right? And this is real transition. This is a real transition. This is not some BS gender transition. But watching Trump survive an assassination attempt and act like a total effing savage just shifted me into some strange patriotic gear that my fancy feminism, white men, bad, infected brain never showed me. Like the dude took a bullet and stood up with blood dripping down his face and rallied an effing crowd while fist pumping, yelling, "Fight." Sorry, but I'm voting for that. And I'm saying it out loud, and saying it out loud feels so freeing. 2012 Stephanie would be so pissed, but that's okay because 2012 Stephanie didn't know crap. That's what America's going through on the left right now. And they know that. And they know that. And it's with good reason, because the media that tells you that Trump collapsed at a rally when he was shot is the same media that's been telling you all the other BS about Trump and about who Trump is. When we all knew, people like you and I, Tom, I didn't even support Trump in 2016. I had a different candidate that I wanted to win that primary. But right away, after observing, I understood what my dad knew inertly. He knew, naturally, he knew what Trump was. That Trump was a man who loved this country. And as I said before, like so many brothers of mine, has now spilled blood for this country. And instead of getting up and taking the victory, because he already had it, right? Instead of going with your gut instinct to run, right? You either fight or you flight. He fought, he said it, he declared it. He pumped those fists in the air and he said, fight, fight, fight. And man, I don't think anybody's ever going to forget that. And you're right, it's going in the history books. And now all of America can join in and make this happen and bring this all together, because we can argue about what's good and what's bad in terms of governance. But weaponizing our government, allowing our president, our government to assassinate presidential opponents the way they do in Venezuela is not an answer for a future for the United States of America.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Agree 100%, John.
And speaking of losers.
Yeah, well, actor George Clooney, a high-profile Biden supporter and fundraiser, asked the president to leave the race. And you don't know who George Clooney is. That's him right there with the beard. I don't think he's made a major movie in a while, John. I don't think anybody's interested in him anymore. But
he thinks he's royalty and that he's aristocracy. I mean, he doesn't need any more money. He's already making money. He already has all the money he needs. Here he is getting a medal, which makes all these Hollywood celebrities think that they're more valuable than they really are to the world. And he's just, I mean, he gave him a whole bunch of money, and now he's saying you need to go. And Joe Biden said, F you.
Yeah, he added his voice to the calls for Biden to leave the presidential race on Wednesday, just weeks after headlining a fundraiser that brought in a record single-night haul for president's reelection campaign. Clooney said in a New York Times opinion piece that he loves Biden, but the party would lose the presidential race as well as any control in Congress with him as the nominee. This isn't only my opinion. This is the opinion of every senator and Congress member and governor that I've spoken with in private. He's hosted several high-dollar Hollywood fundraisers, including for Biden last month. So he says he's talking to all these senators, all these congressmen, all these governors, and they're telling him that they want Biden out too. So,
Okay, so here's the funny thing about this. I'm on Biden's side. Listen to this. I'm on Biden's side on this. And here's why. Not just because Clooney's such a jerk that he thinks that an actor is important when it comes to the leadership of our country. The idea that some guy who pretends he's someone else is going to come and tell us all how to live our lives is the biggest joke. He deserves a slap across the face, right? With a glove, like 18th century style. Because this is ridiculous. But let me say this. Every governor, every so-and-so. It's not Biden. It's not just Biden. This is your policies. What Democrat are you going to put in that's going to be like, you know what? We're going to drop all this transgender crap for kids. We're going to drop trying to feed kids pornography. We're going to drop all this stuff. We're going to drop all the craziness. Hey, listen, F communism, F socialism. We're going back to America. We're going to pump some oil. We're going to give low cost. We're going to allow people the freedom of choice when it comes to traveling our nation. We're going to go secure the border. We're not going to have all the prisoners from Venezuela come up here and rape and kill our women and our children and our families, destroy our families. We're not going to allow the Chinese to pump our country full of fentanyl. Those are the things that you need to say if you don't want to lose the House and the Senate and the presidency. I mean, if Biden right now said, you know what, I was wrong. I should have never made Easter Trans Day, right? I was wrong. I should have never told the kids not to paint crosses on Easter eggs at the White House Easter egg hunt. If he did that, then maybe he wouldn't be losing his over all of this stuff, right? Because that's why he's losing. That's why he was going to lose to begin with.
Yeah.
So he was already losing. The problem is there's nothing that Biden can ever do to show that he's the type of man that Trump is, which is after you get shot, get up, stop the people from exfilling you, pump your fist in the air and say, fight. Joe Biden's not that guy.
No, he's not.
So, yeah, he's more like the Secret
He's never
Service.
been that guy. He'll never be that guy.
He'll never be that guy. Nobody in his entire family was ever that guy. So it's just and that's the problem. You're not going to solve that just by getting rid of Biden. You're going to have the same problem in 4 years. You're going to have the same problem in 8 years. And we should have never let that fancy pants Obama win an election in this country, because that's what put us on the path to not just all the corruption that was going on behind the scenes with this deep state, right? That was getting just fat and heavy and entrenched in D.C., but then with all the stuff that was just, we know that is absurd.
So anyway, I wanted to say this, John, to George Clooney, to Julia Roberts, all these Hollywood elitists. You know, people stopped going to the movies and people stopped watching your movies when you guys got so politically involved and you revealed how woke you are.
And nobody cares what you think.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think. But you definitely turn people off to your movies. So good for you. I hope you can live off the money you've made for the rest of your lives, because I don't think there's much more to be had. Anyway, when you asked Dr. Jill Biden about the calls for Biden to drop out of the race, she doesn't like it, John. She doesn't like it one bit.
God forbid you ask her a real question.
Dr. Biden, do you have any message to House Democrats who are calling for your husband to drop out of the race? How are you feeling about the state of the race? All right, ladies.
All right, let's load up.
No. She doesn't appreciate that, John. She's the one who really wants Joe to keep in this race. So
yeah, she's got to.
All right, John. So before we go across the nation and talk about some stories that are happening across the nation, we have this important message.
Tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
All right, so we are back, John. And first up, we know that the House Republicans did pass this SAVE Act, which is supposed to crack down on illegal immigrants. But the House Democrats plan to block this when it goes to the Senate. And I think we all know that they plan to bury this thing. Here's the vote. This is the end vote. It was 216 against 5. With 5 Democrats, surprisingly, and 198 no's, passed with 221. But House Minority Whip. I'm sorry, John.
I wonder who are those no votes?
Yeah.
On the Republican side, I saw that there were 4 of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, House Minority Whip Catherine Clark out of Massachusetts released a statement to Democrats to vote no. She said this would be an extreme burden for countless Americans, including military voters, Native voters, people who have changed their names, including tens of millions of American women, the elderly, the young, the poor, and naturalized citizens. So their plan going forward is to block this thing and bury it in the Senate.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, they don't want this. They don't want anything like this. God forbid illegal aliens aren't voting. I mean, it's simple. Why don't you just make a law where you have to be? Come on, this is silly stuff that we're arguing about. I mean, there's only crazy people that believe that non-citizens should be allowed to vote. Voting is not something just because you're here. It's happenstance. You have to be an American citizen to vote and take part in this democracy. And to me, I'll be honest with you. In my opinion, there's a lot of the rights. What we consider privileges, all of those privileges in the United States, things that are not considered a right, Because we know that there's a difference between a right and a privilege in the United States. I'm not sure that any illegal alien should have those privileges. You should not be allowed to drive. If you're an illegal alien, you should not be able to get a driver's license. You should not be allowed to drive. And all those things should be criminal offenses. That would make it difficult for an illegal alien to come here and work, to come here and take benefit and take advantage of the country's immigration policies.
Yeah, I agree.
Much less vote. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous conversation.
Yeah, it is. So, John, over at what was formerly known as Fort Bragg, now it's called Fort Liberty, they are training. Well, the Army brass is training that pro-life groups are terrorist groups now. John, did you know that?
Okay, I hope that the general in charge of Fort Bragg he should be kicked out right now, relieved of duty. He should be court-martialed for this, in my opinion.
This is crazy.
And taken down to lieutenant. It's absolutely horrendous. Yeah. It's absolutely horrendous. They're telling you what? Come on, has a right to life person ever gone onto a base and killed anybody? There's been a whole bunch of terrorists that have killed soldiers. Yeah. Not one of them was a pro-life terrorist. This is crazy. Yeah. I can't wait to see what comes of this.
Yeah.
But if you think that it's not woke, then you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, more than 24 members of the House Armed Services Committee demanded answers from the Army after it acknowledged the veracity of slides in a domestic counterterrorism training module that referenced pro-life groups. Representative Jim Banks out of Indiana, chairman of the Subcommittee on Military Personnel, led the letter to Army Secretary Christine Wormuth, expressing outrage and calling for a more thorough explanation for the use of the teaching tools at Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg, in North Carolina. And hopefully they get to the bottom of this, because this is insane. It really is.
It's insane.
Yeah. So, John, AOC, one of our favorite people, the Democratic Socialists of America have withdrawn her conditional endorsement.
I mean,
you have to wonder why, right? Well, they withdrew their conditional endorsement after it said she is not supportive enough of the Palestinian efforts to end the Israel-Hamas war. In a memo Wednesday, the DSA credited Ocasio-Cortez for her courageous positions on Palestine, but took issue with some of her recent moves, including her panel with leaders from the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, who the group said are lobbyists for the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, the definition of anti-Semitism. So, sorry, AOC. I have the sound. Let me see.
Is that it?
There you go. But, it's surprising to me that they didn't find her supportive enough of Palestine. But she is up for re-election this year, I believe, John. So I think she's trying to reach everybody. Yeah. So hopefully she loses. But anyway.
She doesn't want that money. She don't want to lose the money.
Yeah,
Now she's
absolutely.
finding herself in the position where she cares more about the job that she's in than she cares about serving her community,
Yeah.
even her crazy constituents, right?
Yeah, because
So
she
she
went
used to
from
be just
what
one of the
making
crazy
like
constituents.
she went from making what like $60,000 or $70,000 a year to $200,000+ a year, and I think she's a multimillionaire now. So yeah, I imagine she doesn't want to
Yeah.
lose that job.
Well, she makes
So
about 180 in Congress. Now she gets to write books, and she's famous, and she's recognized, and she's one of these political celebrities, which is
yeah,
just ridiculous.
well, one squad member already lost their seat. Let's just see how
Yeah,
many more
let's see how
lose their
many more.
seats. So Delta Airlines was hit with backlash over a tweet about flight attendants wearing Palestinian flag pins. They issued a groveling apology, and here's that tweet from somebody who calls themselves "I like Teslas." Since 2001, we take our shoes off in every airport because a terrorist attack in U.S. soil. Now imagine getting into a Delta flight and seeing workers with Hamas badges in the air. What do you do? And yeah, there they are. If you don't see them, right above their Delta wings, there's a Palestinian flag pin on her and a Palestinian flag on him. Uh, I don't know, John. If I saw a flight attendant with a Palestinian flag, I don't know how I'd feel on that flight, you know. But
It's nuts. It's
yeah,
absolutely nuts.
you know, Delta Airlines faced this intense backlash after this post on X, and they issued this groveling apology. On Wednesday, the X user posted 2 photos of these flight attendants wearing these Palestinian flag pins, which were incorrectly described as Hamas badges during the flights, prompting a response from the airline. I hear you, as I'd be terrified as well personally. That's what the airline wrote in a post. Our employees reflect our culture, and we do not take it lightly when our policy is not being followed. All right.
What policy is that, I wonder?
Yeah, I'm wondering too.
Listen, this is crazy because remember when hijacking planes used to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like our age is like when it pretty much stopped happening, right? So like in the 80s, in the early 80s was the last time they were really hijacking planes until 9/11, right?
Yeah.
And so, but in the 70s, right? I think maybe even in the 60s a little bit, but in the 70s, in the late 70s, in the early 80s, people were hijacking planes. And so many of these hijackers were like Palestinians. They were hijacking planes. I mean, and they're going to wear a Palestinian flag on there. It's like literally saying, hey, I'm a terrorist. That's on my name badge. You know, I'm a terrorist. I'm here to hijack your plane. It's crazy.
Well, you know,
It's
John,
just crazy.
us Gen Xers,
For
we
an
remember
airline industry.
9/11. You know, we remember
Yeah.
9/11. And I know there's a whole generation behind us that don't. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think any of us Gen Xers, if we get into a plane and we see that Palestinian flag, we're going to be a little bit more nervous on that flight. So,
Yep.
I know I would be.
Yep.
All right, John. So to finish up this show, wrap it up, we're going to have a really cool story. Ammo vending machines were installed in Oklahoma and Alabama grocery stores, and I hope they're soon coming to Florida. We'll just have to see what the prices are on this ammo. But yeah, here's a picture of what this ammo vending machine looks like. It's by American Rounds. And these machines were created by American Rounds. They offer ammo to be purchased without engaging a store clerk. They are accessible 24 hours, 7 days a week, ensuring that you can buy ammunition on your own schedule, free from the constraints of store hours and long lines. The company states that the machines are equipped with the latest AI technology with card scanning and facial recognition software to verify the identity and the age of each buyer. The company states that its systems ensures all transactions comply with federal and local regulations. I just think this is the coolest thing. I don't know. I mean, I hope that they come here.
Take my money. Take my money. What's the meme with the kid? He's like, take my money.
Yeah.
Take my money. Take my money. Take my money. That's me with an ammo vending machine. They should have rifles like that too. If you can prove your ID, if you can, that would require a lot of technology that I wouldn't be comfortable with. But I mean, that'd be pretty cool. You walk, because here's the thing: I hate dealing with people to begin with, right? Like everybody thinks that because I'm in politics and I'm elected that I love chatting with people. I'm a very socially uncomfortable, socially awkward guy. It's not my favorite thing. I'm not like a personality guy. So it's like, if I could avoid the cashier at every stage, I would never, so.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
I did,
I'm the self-checkout guy. I'll go to the self-checkout.
Are you? I'll go to the side. Yeah, I won't. I hate Subway because I don't like cooking my own food. I don't like participating in the cooking of my own food when I'm paying for it at the cashier. But yeah, so
I hate going to the store. Period. Walking into a Walmart is like a phobia for me. I don't want to go to the Walmart.
Worst.
But the grocery store, I have to go to the grocery store. Not just because I work in one, but I mean, you have to go to the grocery store to get food to eat.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're getting it curbside and you're getting it delivered to your car, you go in the grocery store and they have this ammo vending machine.
Oh man, I'll go to the store for that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right? You just go there. You just buy a box every week, and then before you know it, you got a good stash.
Yeah, you got a nice stockpile. You're ready to go. I mean, it's perfect.
Yep.
It's perfect. So
that cool.
Wraps up the show, John. We went an hour and 18 minutes. So
an hour and 18 minutes. That wasn't bad. I thought it was going to be like an hour and a half, 2 hour show.
I thought so too, but we wrapped it up good.
Yeah, we are. Listen, we're praying for Trump and Trump's family, and we're praying for those people who lost their lives and the families of those who lost their lives yesterday. We're praying for the people who were injured, and we're praying for our country. And we really hope that it comes together. We did the show. We tried to end it on a good, positive note, just like something a little bit lighthearted. And that was great job, Tom. And there's so many things. We could talk about this forever. But the point is, we need leaders and leadership who love this country, who don't love their jobs more than they love their country, right? Like this is the basis of our country. Go watch some old movies and just see how different culture was back then and how people saw their nation and their country and how they see it today. You'll see how much nicer that world is than this one. Yeah. So continue to pray. On Wednesday, so tomorrow night when this airs, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in front of the Supervisor of Elections office, we're having a prayer for Trump assassination attempt victim prayer rally, a vigil. Okay, so please come and join us in prayer. We'll have people there. We'll be praying together as a community for our country, for the victims of that assassination attempt, for the president himself, and for all of our American families and American citizens everywhere. We'll just be in deep prayer over that situation. So please join us Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. It's 192 in Parton Settlement at the Supervisor of Elections, Osceola County Supervisor of Elections, in the parking lot. Nothing formal. We're going to go there. We're going to pray and then have some fellowship and then move on and be on our way. Okay, so it's a public place. Should be well light up, easy, plenty of parking. Should be a lot of fun just to get together and say hello and God bless to each other. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and share the show. I think that's really important. Listen, also, if check your invitations, please. Okay. If you go into your invitations on Facebook or wherever you see that we're asking you to like the show or follow the show or whatever, please do. See if you find us in there. If we haven't got you already, if you're not already liking or following the show, and please do that for us. We would greatly appreciate it. But thank you. God bless you. On behalf of School Board Member John Arguello, your Republican candidate for State Senate District 25, and my amazing friend, Citizen Tom Lord, over here on the other side. Thank you and God bless.
And stay tuned for the Florida show later this week.